So we started simple, didn't we? We've used some simple measures and some simple data modeling tips to build a model. But how do we then get ready to share it? How can we prepare to share? Hi, my name's Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching today. What we've done, or what we're going to do now, is look at that first step, isn't it, of how do we lay out our reports? What mindset should we go into, and how do we make them really pop and get that idea that we can then give that data story without spending hours and hours and hours in terms of laying out report pages? Because while that's good, what you suddenly find is next week when your data changes, that report that looked really good suddenly looks really crap. And you kind of need to get that fine line where we can produce good content consistently, quickly, as opposed to it being amazing looking content that isn't actually any better. Okay, there's a fine line, there's a balancing act we need to think through with that. And then lastly, let's look at a little issue that we found and have that discussion about business logic versus ETL processing. So this is the report page that we built last week, isn't it? Okay, and it does what it needs to do, doesn't it? We can see all the businesses, we could explore them, we can pick an area, we can see the specifics of the businesses. We could work out more stuff from here. But how can we make it look more presentable? Because that's ultimately the thing, isn't it? We want this to look nice so that our consumers are able, and use this. And effectively, this is then where you need to think, what's the audience for this? And the videos and the data sets that we use for demos are always kind of more informational than strategic. And there's a difference in what we would do and what you would do in a business. So, with times we might try and put some business stuff on this, but you and I know the data set's more informational. But yeah, we need to do that. So let's have a look at some of those things that we can do to get started. Now, templates have a huge benefit, okay? And they're really simple to build as well, okay? I'd always recommend taking some time at building them. These are just some generic ones in a very grey format that we kind of use as a starting point for a lot of clients when we just, what are we going to do? And then we overlay this with corporate branding and corporate logos and stuff, so you could put your logos, your branding on these. And the idea is that because it's a background, there's no impact in terms of, from Power BI's perspective, in terms of loading that page. We can even say, right, let's take all these, let's add, not shape fill. Yeah. So we could say, let's add some shadows, like drop shadow to it. So it makes, just makes the whole report pop a bit more, doesn't it? If you've got those kind of things going to it. So it's one of the things always recommend, probably, up to 20 or so different page layouts, just based on what you think. And don't be afraid, as I say, leave the PowerPoint somewhere. Don't be afraid to revisit it, update the templates and tweak them. And then if you remember what we did for the Jasmine Dean one, also for the Parkrun report, is we actually made that available within the template. So within the template file that we made available for people to use and get more information in, we actually put in static pages that already had the background applied, so that we weren't then having to share all the template information, provide instructions. This is how you do it. You just need to go and duplicate the page you want, use that template. It's really easy. And that's all part of the let's make life easier for everyone using it journey. So we've got these to say you can kind of do what you want with them. Once you've built one, so like this one, we could go say File, Export. We're going to pick to export it as PNG. Okay, I'm going to say Save As, and I'm just going to pick, there we go. New shadow, I'm just going to call it that. Hit Save. And I'm just going to do this one for now, but you could say all of them. In terms of all of them, sometimes I get some weird stuff if I try and use saving it all to OneDrive. I've had it not work in the past. Hopefully it's been fixed by now. It sometimes works better, just make sure it's on your C drive somewhere. But yeah, If not, you kind of go one by one, which is slow. But once you've done the main bulk, it probably is one by one that's right. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to do this, just this one. So we now have one here. And I can now double click on it. Let me find new shadow PNG. It's a lovely little 5K file. Let me pick the right thing here. Apologies, different monitors. Okay, so we've now got this. Okay. So I have that. What do I need to do? How could I use that with this page, for example? And it's not too difficult. So what we can do is we can say, right, we want to have, well, nothing selected first. And we want to go to here, yeah, to the format. We're going to pick canvas background. Pick one. Let's go back to our documents here. New shadow. What? It's all blank. Transparency set to 100 by default. Change that. Okay. And then we want to set that to either fit, fill, or stretch. I'm going to pick stretch just to kind of stretch it, makes it about right. It should be about right from PowerPoint in that, you know, your widescreen, your 16 by 9 layout should be the 16 by 9 layout that you're using for your pages. Please don't start tinkering with your page layouts and sizes too much. Bear in mind, you can set them to all sorts of things, but by default, PowerPoint or Power BI fits report pages to the page. So if you make something really big so you can fit all your stuff onto it and then give it to a customer, potentially it's just going to compress and it won't look as good. You're better having smaller, multiple pages and a better navigation layout. Honestly, trust us. Been through this before. So we've got these. So then what we need to do for all of these, because by default they all have this set on anyway, is go in, use the search, always sensible, plot area background, not plot area, it is size and style, remove backgrounds. Okay, do the same for here, remove backgrounds, and the same for the map, remove the backgrounds. So then what we could do is we could say, well, what do we actually want to do? Because we've got a lot of real estate. And all we're going to do really is kind of lay these out so that we can start to see what's happening here. Okay, so we could pick here where we've got this. We could say, well, what we're going to do is change this to be a slicer. This is already a slicer. But change the slicer type to be a drop down. Oh my goodness me. Put that in there, start to lay out how we want our stuff to go. Potentially, you know, we don't need a title on here. So we could say, right, for this, let's remove the title. Yeah, remove title. So we've just got the map. So when we can pick, we want Gateshead, we want Hartlepool, we've got kind of what we want, haven't we? We can see a lot more. And I think, you know, this does make it appear better, doesn't it? We could turn around and we could say, well, we want to put in a score and a rating for different types of businesses, our core. So we've got kind of takeaways, pubs and bars. So we've got something roughly laid out. So didn't take me long, did it, to put those together? And let's actually make sure we've got rid of the backgrounds there. Okay, so you can carry on. This is just quick and fairly dirty just to show you kind of what we would look to do. But then from here, obviously, if we pick different areas, we see it all updates and changes and moves around. And we can then work out, does this work for what we need? You know, we're looking at Newcastle upon Tyne, for example. There's a different layout. So should we be doing something different to it? But that consistency is what will always benefit you. So you lay out your report pages, this consistency. I haven't put formatting in the visuals. The visuals are just the visuals. And the performance isn't going to be impacted by having to bring all these extra visual elements into the report page load for it. That put together, and then we can put additional pages in, we can put navigation schemes in. We've got the piece as well, haven't we, where we've talked in the past, or where we've looked in the past, haven't we, at actually adding schema information to this. So if we went to modeling and said, let's create a new page, this is going to be DAX measures. Let's zoom in a bit so you can see. Measures equals info view measures. Okay. That's kind of all that you would need to do. Okay, all of a sudden we have a DAX measures table. There's only 2 measures that we've got in here at the moment, but as you pick those up and you put more in, you can do that. This is the basics of the basis of a data dictionary. You know, you wrap this in an add column statement and then remove the columns that you wanted, or, you know, whatever you want. You can kind of pick and choose what you feel you need versus what, well, I don't need those. But this data dictionary build is now there, baked in to your report pack, and it will refresh every time the main model refreshes, it being a calculated table. As I say, what we've also got in there, if we went to add tables, let's go to a new table, put tables, it was what, info.view, wasn't it? Info.view. So we can do tables, measures, and relationships. Okay, so I would generally say, you know, relationships, measures, and columns are worth having, because columns has table names in them as well. You know, table names are in relationships, but you could put tables in and then kind of do what you need for it as well. There's nothing wrong with whatever you want with this. It's kind of what works for you and your organization. So here's our info view for columns. We can see we get lots of information out of it already. Tables that are involved, including, if we look here, should have DAX expressions. So we've got DAX expressions, and sorry, yeah, which is our measures table, in DAX measures, which is the info view measures. Okay, it's all there. See, we've got local date tables, so it's clearly I haven't set up my date time table properly, did I? So we'll do that now. Okay, and I do this so often, it's really annoying. It makes me feel that Power BI is undoing my setting changes. I went to the wrong button. I'm going to go File again. I'll try and do it properly this time. File, Options and Settings, Options. And then under Options, you've got Data Load. And we're going to go Current File. I'm going to turn off Auto Date Time for the current file. And then in Data Load overall, I'm going to turn off Auto Date Time. And as I say, I do this so often, it makes me convinced that my settings are being undone. And you can see all the little calendars that were there have disappeared. Okay. Okay, let's start a new layout. I'm going to call this Establishments. Okay, and I'm going to bring in Establishments. And then I'm going to right click on it and add related tables. So now we can see what's related to establishments. We've got the scores, which is the individual scores of the day, as it were, which we know it's got a one-to-many secretly, because one establishment can have many scores, although for the sake of this, it's a one-to-one. But we've got that structurally ready to go if we could work out a good way to do it. And remember the business logic to support this idea that an establishment, what happens? You know, an establishment, it changes hands over time, but does every hand change mean a change in score? If that makes sense. You know, if I run the business and I hand it over to somebody, should they get a new score, or could that be a way that I can avoid, oh, well, I've got rubbish food hygiene rating? So I think there's a whole thing around this, and this is a great example, I think, of business logic and how you have to apply it, and where it's not necessarily a data-driven thing. You know, we can't, from a data perspective, determine what that needs to be. There's going to be a decision that needs to be taken at a business level for what will work for our business. There are arguments either side. It's not a cut and dry, this is right, that is wrong position. So we'd have to work that out if we were to fix that, and then that would allow it to go as a proper one-to-many relationship. But anyway, I digress. So we've got that pulled together. We could then come through and say, well, Let's talk about the elephant in the room then, shall we? What we've managed to do so far is really show you the model lays out. This is what goes on. Now, I want to take a moment here to talk about something which it is a reality of the modern world and of what we're actually doing now, an awful lot more than we were a decade ago or longer. Now, the modern world is cloud-based, isn't it? You know, we're paying software as a service licensing. That's how we're going about things. The problem with that is direct database connections just are not the thing with that. You know, it's, if you go and you have a software as a service offering, you're not going to give clients direct access to your cloud database that has all your client data in it. You just won't. So what happens is you rely on APIs, and this is one of the reasons why we've pushed back and said, no, how we process files and Excel, so that's really important, because APIs serve up a file. So what we've got here is if serving up a JSON, an XML file. It could be a JSON, it could be a CSV, it could be something else. You know, this is what you'll get back from various platforms that you've got. From an API perspective, more likely be JSON or XML, because that's easier, kind of what they provide back. But the same is true no matter what it is you've got. So here we've got an issue, haven't we? And I was looking at this and sort of saying, I was sitting going, oh, where's my rating date gone? You know, my dates have disappeared in terms of when. So my dates have disappeared, haven't they? In terms of when was the rating actually given? And I was thinking, well, what's going on with this? So I had a look to think, well, what is happening with this? Because there's an issue with this. So let's go through and see what's going on and understand now why we talk and say it's not easy to just turn around and say, oh, Excel's bad, okay? Because file processing is what we have to learn how to do, and how we cope with things like this is what we have to learn how to do. And for all this is not what I would intrinsically call a business logic challenge. It is a business logic type solution because it's a solution for this. It's, you know, it's a pattern we can reuse, so it falls into the general purpose ETL scripting cycle of things. But it's, oh, we have this issue here, we need to tackle it this way. Okay. So what we've got, if we have a look here, we can now see, if we look at the rating date, we suddenly see we've got an error. Okay, 23/12/12 isn't a valid date. Okay, we're like, well, that doesn't quite right. Something's not quite going on well there. So we need to figure out what's happening there. So what we need to do is we need to go and add a column to get this sorted. So we're going to go add column, a custom column. So what we're going to say is we're going to say table. So we're going to add a custom column, and it's simple. It's going to be table. And I'm saying simple, isn't it? First value. Oh, I hate the way the autocomplete started doing this. Microsoft, please fix it. This has gone on far too long. Open brackets, rating date. Okay. So that's what we want to do. Okay. Because what we want to do is let's extract the date. If present. Okay. We'll click OK. Oh. Put comments in. It hates you when you add comments into your code in M. Okay. Okay. So that works. Okay, so we can come down and we can see we've got rating date. So I did it this way because I want to be able to have a look at this. Okay, so if we scroll over here, we can see we've got these here. So this one, the second one down, we've got a table. Okay, so we've got a date and we've got a table. So if we scroll back over here to where it's got rating date, if we click rating date and we scroll down, we can see we've got just a date value available to us. If we go to the next one down, which has failed, we've got a different column with a table. Okay, and this is basically say it's a needs. So it's values that are awaiting inspection. So where there's something isn't there, we get these errors. Okay, that's predominantly what we're seeing. So we've now got a column or a table that's producing what we want. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to say, right, let's remove the rating date column. Yeah, so I'm going to click that and delete that. I come all the way back over here, and then because we've got this here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy rating date, just because I want to make sure I've got the right syntax for it to work with everything. I'm going to click back on the remove column as the step that we want, and then we're going to go back here and we're going to say let's create another custom column. Okay, and this time we're going to call it rating date. Okay, and what we're doing here is we're going to check. So if value is open brackets, so if the value of T date, wasn't it? If the value of T date type table table equals true, then this should be null, else T date. So what we're saying is if it's returned a table because it's an invalid value, let's put it as null in that one. Otherwise, we can return the correct one. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken a date or a column, or a column that was tables with different schemas, and we've mixed it up and we've pulled out what we need from it. So we're now going to say, right, we've now got that. Okay, so I'm going to just say, okay, and this mouse is getting worse and worse on this. I need to really move what's going on with this mouse. Click OK, and it's going to say, I don't like it again. Value is was not recognized. Value is T. Type table equals true then. Values, value. There we go. My goodness me, I can barely type. I'm going to blame everything on this wireless setup at the moment here. Something's going on, it just doesn't work. Okay, so we've now got that. So if we scroll right over here, we can see we've got rating date, and it's either a date or a null. And we'll just remove then this T date. Okay, so we've removed that as well. So we've now got these here, and hopefully that's going to give us a full set. Let's make sure that's flowed through, and it doesn't seem to be flowing through into there at the moment. So this was always the risk. We've got this example way of working. So I'll show you how to do it when the connection seems to stop working at times. Go up to here, ignore the last let is what I would always say. Okay, Control C, copy that. Okay, and then if we go to our function, we go in and edit our function, we can see what we need to do is replace everything up to this let and this first in. So I'm going to Control V there. Okay, and then I'm going to click done when my mouse works again. My goodness me. And the way we can check, let's go back to rating issues items here. It's worked now. Okay, we've got here this perfect thing. We can see what we're pulling through is our values from here. So actually the right image for it. We've got an ordinal, we've got the rating integer, which we can then use to actually do for our calculations, for our averages. So we've got everything there that we would want now is good. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. So what it means now is if I go home, close and apply, come back here, hopefully now this should now come through with the extra. Actually, I didn't check to make sure I put it in there, did I? Oh, idiot. I will check in a second. Okay, so it'll load all the values through into here. Again, remembering that this is what we get coming through. Oh, we've got an error. One error. What's the one error in? So we click here, we go through it. It's always good that we're seeing a lot more of these kind of things coming through. So we've got a few of these. Got rating date as an error. That's always what we want to find. So it's definitely something's going on with these rating dates. At least we've now found the ones they are. So this is 2312 type. FSR So it's row number 18. Yeah, 18,100. Good luck finding those. It'd be useful to figure out where those are, wouldn't it? So let's go Control C on there. Okay, because what we want to do is figure out where does this value come from. Oh, so we'll go to establishments. I'm going to pick on here. I'm going to say search here. So I'm going to go number filter equals. I'm going to paste that in. Click OK. Okay, and that should come back with a single area. So Border Force Middlesbrough. 648, local authorities. 648. Yeah, okay. So that explains a lot. So it's the three look, the 3 areas in this port of Redcar, Cleveland, separate little area. So there's something going on there. Potentially it's a different schema even. There's only 3 establishments there. And interestingly, we've got 3 errors in the scores. So do you want to place bets? They're all there, which is good. This is what we wanted here. This is kind of all find. Okay, so what we can now see is we can see if we look at the rating date, it's not there. But what we can do is we can check, because we can go back to start point. We can have a look in here. See, these are the ones that have got the error with them. And we can see if we scroll along. So rating date there has come back as an error, okay, which is good. So how do we check all this? So we go back through, we can say, well, this is the one we need to check. So we can Control C on this now, okay, and what we can do is we can come through to here, where we've got our sample file, go Control A, Control V. So now this is going to return this, and we can see what's happening at each stage. Okay, so we'll go back through and we'll process this. So let's zoom out just so it's easier for me. So if I come back to the beginning and we zoom in, what do we have? So we've got an error, we've added the custom. So what's probably happening is if we come back here, rating date is just a date. Okay, so that's fine. So it's not a table, so it's throwing the error. So what we need to do is for this first add custom, let's click here. Okay, so do you remember what we put? Do you remember how we checked if it was a table? Okay. Do you remember? Maybe. So let's go is. So it's if value.is, open brackets, square brackets. Let me space this. Here we go. Rating date. Type table equals true. Okay. Do that. Yeah. So if it's a type table, value type is table, then what's it? Oh, there's a second square bracket in it. My goodness me, what is going on today with coding and getting this to do it? Type table, else let's put rating date. Okay, so we're saying if it's this, do this, otherwise do that. Okay, and then click OK. So we have values now for this. We carry on. This all works. Okay, so what we can now do, we now know this works. We can check the errors. Are they still errors? They're still errors. So we've got the clear indication here that this still isn't flowing through, which is annoying me. Having told you this is the thing to do, make sure this works through. But it's important that you understand what's going on with these. So we can always go through and do the same again. So we'll come here. I'm going to pick all this up to the left. Control C. Cancel that because we don't make any changes. Come back to here. Go into the advanced editor. So even when this breaks, it's still useful having it there, even though my mouse is now going crazy. Okay, so paste that there. Okay, done. Right, so if we come back and we look at rating images, that's all still fine. I'll look at the errors in scores. That should now be blank. Perfect. Let's get close and apply. Okay, so we've pieced together something that's going to allow us to put in those valid rating dates through a number of scenarios. So we've checked if it's a table, return the right thing. So presumably it returns a table if there are instances where you've got So what do you reckon then? Okay. Starting to use PowerPoint to lay out pages makes a huge difference to everything. When you're laying out pages consistently and you've got your library of templates to use, it's really quick. Which page are we going to use? This one. You can put on your logos, all those branding elements that you really need for your corporate look and feel, and make it all work instantly for you. And even better, when you do decide you need to export it as PDF or do it into a PowerPoint, it's already kind of laid out right, isn't it? It's much easier. Okay, so think about that. That's important. And then, of course, we had this piece, didn't we, around our dates. Now, file types and file type processing, they're not going anywhere. Okay, all those people say, "Oh, you're wasting your time doing anything with Excel." No. Learn to process Excel spreadsheets. Learn to process folders of spreadsheets or folders of CSVs, folders of something else. What we've shown with this is a classic API example where we've got an API, bish, bash, bosh. We use one, gets one local authority, two, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could go on infinite, there's no finite limit really to how many we could get in our business. If you thought that might be a store report with it, the prevalence that we've got in the industry towards SaaS models means APIs are more common. APIs are file-based deliveries. There is no other way of looking at it. Okay, we write scripts and code to start that beginning that might then say, well, here's our paginated list we're going to pull through. You might go down the route saying, oh, well, we're going to be able to do this with an incremental refresh cycle. But again, an incremental refresh cycle is kind of just another file that you're going to dot on the end or process to append. There's not something separate. The idea of saying, oh, we're just going to go and connect to a SQL view or do this, it's a lovely idea, but it's becoming less and less common now. There are definitely times when we've got them, but they do tend to come from legacy systems or very bespoke systems that have been tailored and delivered directly into a customer. When you're saying our SaaS solution that we've bought, like our Salesforce, or this, or that, even Microsoft Dynamics, API driven. Okay, Dynamics, yes, you might be able to get into the Dataverse side of it, but predominantly they're going to push you towards APIs to get your access to it. So, APIs, which are file-based, we work out ways we can process and work out all these things, but fundamentally, we're dealing with files. The issue we've seen, and I've seen it a lot with XML and with JSON API payloads, that the schema is supposed to be static, and it isn't consistently. And this fix was great for it. It's really quick. It's really easy. It's worth knowing how to do it and keeping that in your back pocket. But when to use it or what to do with it, for it's an ETL piece, there is potential there for it being considered more of a business logic challenge. It's not going to be a one-size-fits-all. It might not necessarily be a date field next time. It could be something else. So we need to think through how we're going to process it in the future. And then lastly, obviously, we do have that idea of what is business logic? And that prime example that we've got coming out from here of what business logic really is, that real example of what about a business? Is a business permanent in terms of, well, the restaurant or the food establishment on this location, it's changed hands, but it's still going to retain the score until it gets a new score? Or should it be a case of the score is a discrete item that ties separately, and the score is what we look at, that this inspection was of this restaurant, which is a point in time, we don't care of a historic or a future? I don't know. I'm not sure of the answer. I'm not sure of how we would process it. Well, this has changed hands now versus it hasn't changed hands. I'm not certain, because changing hands, it could be, well, I'm just getting my mate who, we ran it together into the ground. My mate's now in charge. Great. We've now got a 5-star rating until someone inspects it. I don't know. And I don't have an answer for it. I can see both sides and I can understand, but we need to think about what we're going to do with it. And that's why I'm saying business logic. The processing is easy enough to do. Once we work out how we're going to store these files, work out how we're going to process them down, that's easy. But the business logic of what we're going to do, is ineffable, isn't it? So I hope you've enjoyed that. Leave an answer down below. What do you think we should do? Not that we're going to do anything, I'll be honest with you. The scope of setting this up to be a long-term growth model, it'd be worth doing if we were getting paid for it. It's, for a demo purposes, we'll probably build this. We'll build a template next week. We'll put some more pages in so we can have a template, and then we can talk about what that would look like when we've produced that template and shared it with our colleagues. So for now, let me know down below what you think. Stay safe. Take care. Ta-da.